Howdy scrappers. Okay, so after doing that last video on the vacuum cleaner, because it was a mid-grade, I thought I may as well get myself a low-grade, very everyday vacuum and pull that apart just to show you the difference. Now, first off, this thing, it's made in China, not Germany. It's got Phillips head screws, not Torx screws. That, of course, the cord's gone because it was a nature strip thing. And so what you'll find, this one here is, here we go. It's an Anko SL163E. I'm not expecting very much out of this at all. In fact, I'm almost positive it'll be aluminium in the motor, aluminium windings. So they're not really worth pulling apart, and there's a lot of plastic. However, I'm not about the value as in the dollar value. I'm more into the recycling side of things. And so I'm going to see just how hard it is, and I'm going to let you guys know. All right. So the first thing I pull off is this thing, the canister, cylinder, whatever you want to call it. Now that there, these, if it depends on the bottom, but these can sometimes make really good temporary containers for storing all sorts of stuff. And yeah, if that one strips down to a good container, I'll let you know what it looks like. Okay, not the best one of these that I've ever scrapped. She's got a big hole in the bottom, and also she's got a trap door. So look, good for storing big items, just, you know, things you just want to put away temporarily. But I dare say this will only last a few weeks before I end up giving it away full of stuff, or yeah, might end up pulling it apart just that little bit extra and then chuck it in the recycling bin or into one of my, yeah, preferably the recycling bin actually. Okay, all right, not a problem. Let's move on to the next bit. All right, time to add its scalp, so to speak, to the trophy wall. All right, let's see how we go here. I reckon you belong about there. Okay, still looking pretty blank. All right, I got a lot of stuff, a lot of work to do to fill that in. Okay, now we take the main body off, and you'll find that, as is very, very often with these particular cheaper brands, is that you'll find that most of the outer casing is PP or polypropylene, same as plant pots, the little black plant pots. Yeah, so what it is, it's quite a common plastic. It's one of the cheaper ones. It's quite durable actually. It's not a bad plastic, don't get me wrong. It's just it's a little bit cheaper, and it's used in bulk on things like this. Now the buttons were ABS. Anything that needed to be hard were ABS, because it gives the rigidity. If you're pressing the on button and the power cord retrieval button, well then obviously that needs to be a bit resilient to human touch. But yeah, pretty basic setup. We've got the Ferris wheel of power cord there, well, missing of course because it was a nature strip rescue. And then underneath all of this we've got a, I've just got to take the cap off, but yeah, we've got another motor, and I'm pretty sure this one's just going to be cheap steel case and aluminium wiring. But let's see, let's make sure. Okay, before I take the motor out, I just want to talk about the wheels. Now on these little compact models, or hunchback ones, whatever you want to call them, they have like a locking device on the actual piece, one piece wheel. Getting all five of those tabs to bend in at the same time, I actually think sometimes it's harder to take this off than a tire of a real car, or a wheel off a real car. But then you'll find that that there's a rubber strip which is like sealed on each edge with a bit of heat, and that's actually quite easy to pull off because that's actually not part of the polypropylene. You separate those two if you want to do it, you know, OCD 100% like I do. And once you actually start that, it's easy just to pull it all off. All right, so the motor itself, let's see. Yep, got that one. And yeah, she's steel. Nice cheap little steel one. All right, so I'll get that out and pull it apart, and let's go and have a look at what the wires are. Okay, with just a little bit of gentle persuasion with this percussionator. Okay, basically that'll come away. That'll go in the scrap, the tin shred or pressed steel. Then the aluminium fan. Quite often these will be a left-hand thread, guys, so be aware of that. And you've got to find some way to actually stop it from spinning when you actually take the nut off. And yet this one, oh, is this left or right hand? Let's have a good look at this. See if I can zoom in here. Oh, might be a normal, thread. Okay, let's see how we go. Okay, so it was a little bit reluctant to come off, but you can see there, holding with the vice grips, I could, well, the multi-grips, I could actually get the 10mm socket onto there, and it came away quite easy. But the most surprising thing is my 10mm socket was exactly where I left it. The joys of having a man cave. All right. Okay, so we're now getting to the windings, and we want to get them out. Now, I've struggled with these for quite a few different ways, and I found a simple way to get them out without using too much elbow grease or angle grinders or anything else. So what you do, you work out where the flat bit, so it's basically a square inside of a circle. So you work out where the sides of the square are, and you mark accordingly just there. Or you can do this by sight. You don't have to use the marker, but it's just good for you guys so you can see what I'm up to. Now, what we do is we then tap with the hammer there, and there. And tap fairly hard, maybe a couple of times, just flatten that out a bit. What that does is it turns that circle. It actually just bulges those areas where the edges, the corners are of the actual windings, the motor, and it should just fall out. Okay, what I should have mentioned before is you take these brushes off. These are actually not even brass. The outer casing looks like mild steel, so it's probably going to be a very, very cheap one. And that's the bearing came off the rotor or the spindle, but either way you need to separate it just so you can get access to come out. Now, I've just gone and put, like I said, 4 very, very shallow dents, and that should, with a bit of luck, fall straight out. Yes, you've still got the rotor in there, which we need to get out, but that shouldn't be too hard. But that's the bit that you wanted to get out, and that's how easy it comes out once you use a little bit of, use your noggin rather than all your muscles. Sometimes it helps. All right. So after all that effort, yes, it absolutely was aluminium windings. So what you'll find that where the windings come in off the brushes, you'll find that there's usually that bit of there is actually copper, and you can't really see it shining at the moment, but that's a beautiful bit of copper wire going into a join, and then that's aluminium wire coming down and going into the winding. So don't get too excited if that little bit there is actually copper, because what you want to do is you want to look after the join. That's where you want to do a little bit of a search, and yeah, all of that's aluminium. So I'm not even going to weigh it up. It's going to be bugger all. And is it worth doing? Absolutely not if you're doing this for financial. That is why they are on nature strips everywhere. Basically, don't pick it up, because as soon as you do, there's a bit of a duty of care for you to dispose of it properly. The best way to get rid of these things is literally, if it's got the cord, yeah, by all means, grab the cord and then take the rest of it down to e-waste collection centre at your local council. Have a chat with them first before you go down there with a carload of stuff, because they might not take some things. I believe cathode ray or CRT televisions then may not be taking in all waste centres yet now, so but they still do take the flat screens. Look, there's quite a few things you just need to just double check with the council. It doesn't hurt to give them a call. Call the people who work there. Don't ring up the administration in the council the council town hall or whatever. Ring the people who actually work at the yard and ask them what they do and don't accept this week, and then yeah, see how you go from there. All right, I hope that was all that effort was worth it, so you guys don't have to go through all that stuff. The bearings were just 608s, and they were pretty cheap as well, so there's probably nothing in there other than the cord that's worth anything. All right, not unless you had one of these and you needed parts and you saw exactly the same one and you just thought, well, I could make one out too. That's about the only real worth they have. All right, guys, I hope it was helpful.